Hey everyone, and welcome to KubeCon and FluxCon. It's great to see you all. Pretty much everything we build and run today depends on DNS. And yet, managing it can feel like we're stuck in the past, right? Well, today, we're going to change that. We're diving deep into two really cool open source tools, Bindy and bindcar, that are finally bringing the legendary BIND9 DNS server into the GitOps world where it belongs. Let's get into it. So, let me ask you a question. Does this sound familiar? You get a ticket to add a new DNS record. So you SSH into a server, you CD into the right directory, you vim open a zone file, and you carefully type in the new line. And then you run a command to reload bind, just hoping you didn't miss a semicolon somewhere. It's kind of stressful, right? There has to be a better way. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by talking about the pain of the old way. Then I'll introduce you to Bindy, our declarative solution. We're going to peek under the hood to see how it all works, then tie it all back to the huge advantages GitOps brings to the table. And of course, we'll wrap up by showing you how you can get your hands on this and get involved. Okay, first things first. Let's really look at the problem we're trying to solve. That manual, imperative past of managing DNS. This slide, I think, says it all. It's the before and after. On the left, that's the chaos so many of us are dealing with. Manual edits, direct SSH access, no real audit trail, and if something breaks, disaster recovery is a nightmare. But on the right, that's where we want to be. That's the GitOps dream. DNS is just code checked into Git. No one needs to log into the servers. Every change has an audit trail, and recovery is as simple as reverting a commit. It's a total game changer. So how do we get from the chaos on the left to the calm on the right? Well, that brings us to our main tool for the job, Bindy, the declarative DNS controller for Kubernetes. So what is Bindy exactly? Well, at its heart, it's a Kubernetes controller. It's written in Rust, so it's super high performance. And what it does is let you manage Bind9 using the same declarative style you use for everything else in Kubernetes. You just define the state you want in YAML, and Bindy's reconciliation loop works tirelessly to make it a reality. And this is what it looks like in practice. This is the magic. Instead of those cryptic zone files, you're just writing simple, clean YAML. You create a DNS zone resource, an A record resource, just like you'd create a deployment or a service. Suddenly, your DNS is readable, it's version controlled, and it's ready to be plugged right into your Flux or Argo CD pipeline. DNS finally becomes a true first-class citizen in Kubernetes. The second you hit kube control apply on that YAML, Bindy just springs into action. First, it uses standard Kubernetes label selectors to find the Bind9 pods it's supposed to manage. Then it connects securely using Bind's own control protocol, more on that in a sec, and applies your changes. And then crucially, it updates the status of your resource right there in Kubernetes, so you always know what's going on. It's a complete, automated, closed-loop system. So that automation sounds pretty slick, right? But how does a Kubernetes controller actually talk to an old-school Bind9 daemon? Let's peel back the onion a little and look at how this really works. Now, the secret sauce here isn't some brand new hack. It's actually a super powerful feature that's been built into Bind9 for years, RNDC, or Remote Name Daemon Control. Bindy is just cleverly leveraging this native, battle-tested protocol to talk directly and, most importantly, securely with the Bind9 daemon itself. Okay, but how does a cloud-native controller speak RNDC? Well, it doesn't. That's where our second little tool comes into play, bindcar. It's this tiny, lightweight sidecar container that you run right next to your Bind9 pod, and its only job, its entire purpose in life, is to be a translator. It takes modern HTTP REST API calls from Bindy and turns them into RNDC commands that Bind9 understands. It's the universal adapter we needed. So let's be super clear on the roles here. Bindy is the brains of the operation. It's the Kubernetes controller that understands the GitOps workflow and watches your CRDs. And bindcar, that's the muscle. It's the sidecar that provides that critical RNDC to HTTP API. Bindy talks to bindcar, and bindcar talks to Bind9. Two separate tools working together in perfect harmony. All right, let's talk performance because I know that's on your minds. How much overhead does all this add? Well, Bindy itself is incredibly lean. We're talking a baseline memory usage of only about 50 megabytes. That's it. And is it fast? Oh yeah. To add a single DNS record, from the moment the CRD changes to the moment Bind9 is updated, takes less than 200 milliseconds. That's literally faster than you can blink. And what about that little sidecar, bindcar? It's even lighter. It sips on about 15 megabytes of memory on average. I mean, it's practically nothing. This is why these tools were written in Rust. Performance and efficiency were baked in from day one.
So the tech is cool, it's super fast, it's really lightweight, but let's zoom out. What does this actually mean for you, for your platform teams day to day? Let's talk about the real GitOps advantage here.
I think this quote just nails it. As an industry, we've totally embraced this declarative magic for our apps and our infrastructure. DNS has been this one last holdout, this one last island of manual toil. Well, it's time to finally bring DNS into the fold with everything else. And this is why it really matters. You get a full GitOps workflow with pull requests and peer review for every single DNS change. You get a built-in audit trail. Think about disaster recovery. It's not a weekend-long panic anymore. It's just restoring your CRDs from a backup. This even makes complex things like multi-region DNS way easier to handle, all while keeping the communication totally secure.
Now, this is a really powerful new way of doing things, and the best part is, it's an open source community effort, and that means you can be a part of it.
Both Bindy and bindcar are fully open source with an MIT license, and they're out there right now for you to try. Honestly, the best way you can contribute at this stage is to just use them. Kick the tires, report bugs, ask for new features on GitHub, or just jump into the GitHub discussions and share your ideas. All the docs are online and ready to go. So, I'll just leave you with this one final thought. As you think about your own platforms, your own workflows, and all that manual toil, isn't it finally time to bring your DNS into the modern, declarative GitOps era? Thank you so much.